Welcome to My Spoonie Sisters, featuring stories from special guests dedicated to empowering those with chronic illness. Our goal? To connect people and provide the support and tools they need to live a better life. For those with chronic illness, our energy levels just fade faster. We must be more purposeful with the spoons allotted to us. So grab your coffee or tea, sister, and tune in as My Spoonie Sisters share stories of living with chronic illness. Hi, my Spoonie Sisters. I'm your host, Gracefully Jen, and I have one amazing lady to bring to us today. Today we are talking with Ashley from RA Warrior Fitness. Hi. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you, Jen? Hello, Spoonie Sisters. So happy to be here.
So what I want to tell our Spoonie Sisters is you and I have been trying to make this happen for quite a while.
For a while, a few months now. Yes.
As Spoonies know, things come up, our brains get foggy, and but here we are.
Here we are, finally.
So Ashley, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, my name is Ashley Nicole, and I am a 18-year rheumatoid arthritis warrior. So I have been kicking RA's ass, like I said, for 18 years. Those first 6 years, it kind of kicked my ass because it took me a while to get officially diagnosed, partly because I was in denial, I believe, and also a little bit of, not really great access to health care. I didn't have good insurance at the time. And so when I first had my first full body flare, I went to urgent care. And so, of course, urgent care, they didn't really give me a true diagnosis, and they told me to take some Aleve Tylenol. And honestly, I did that for 6 years. But once I finally got diagnosed in 2010, and throughout that time, I had actually gained about 60 pounds in the process. So once I finally got my diagnosis, I was like, okay, I need to do something about my weight because it's not helping with the joint pain at all. And so I started educating myself on anti-inflammatory foods and all of the good things, started falling in love with fitness. And then eventually I decided I wanted to become a personal trainer in 2018, regardless of a couple of people who were close to me that didn't think that I could do it because of my RA. But I said, don't believe me, just watch. And I did it anyway. And so fast forward to now, I started my RA Warrior Fitness during the pandemic, March of 2020, literally. And so fast forward to now, my business has grown. I've met so many wonderful Spoonie sisters and helped to transform so many lives through faith, food, and fitness. And so I am absolutely doing what I love. I turn my pain into purpose. And, I really, honestly, this might sound weird, but I thank God for my RA because it has truly taught me a lot about myself. And I've been able to use it to help other warriors as well to get through their journey.
So how did your rheumatologist and your doctor take the news of what you wanted to do? Were they on board and supportive?
Well, my rheumatologist was not. She was not. I went in for, I normally now go in for twice a year. So I went in for my checkup, and I had already been training at this point for about 4 months, I believe. So I'd already started to transform. And so I was excited to share with her, look what I'm doing. And so I told her, and she was like, but your wrists are weak. Your wrists are too weak. Bodybuilding, what does that consist of? So I explained it to her, and I was like, I'm very careful. I wrap my wrist. I came up with these wrist straps that that's got my branding on them and everything. And I know my body. I know what I can do, and I'm very careful with my wrists. I'm aware of the shape of my wrist. And so, she was like, well, okay, but I just don't want you to, to hurt those wrists. It could be really detrimental if you were to, break it or something. And I'm like, Okay, negative Nancy. But and I just went on and I left that appointment, Jen, just so deflated, so deflated. And really it takes a lot to get me down. That really got me down. But I kind of felt what I felt for about 24 hours. I normally give myself about 24 hours to sob, cry, whatever. And then I have to brush myself off and just, I went even harder in the gym. Jen, I went even harder. And I was like, I'm going to prove to her and everyone else who said that I couldn't, that I can, you know? And I did. I did. I had my first bodybuilding competition in July. I earned my pro card, which is a very, very prestigious thing and difficult thing to do on your first show. But this RA Warrior did it. And then I went on to compete in my pro debut in September, and I placed third place up against women who've been bodybuilding for years. So, you know, let this be a lesson, Spoonie sisters. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something because of your chronic condition. If you have the will and the determination, you can absolutely do it. The process may look different. You may have to modify some things. I had to modify a lot, but I got the job done. You can do it. You can absolutely do it. And I went back into my appointment just a couple of weeks ago, and I wore my tiara, however you say it, my crown. Okay. I wore my crown and my medals. I couldn't wait to see my doctor's face. And she was shocked. But she was happy. And she was like, I would love for you to, you know, to write something up so that we can, you know, share it with everyone else and let them know what's possible and how we helped you.
Excuse me?
Exactly. But I didn't say what I really wanted to say because she honestly has come through for me with my Orencia samples because I've been trying to get approval for that. And she's been helping me out with my medicine because insurance, you know, need I say more? Fighting with insurance on why I need my medication. So I was like, okay, let me not bite the hand that feeds me. I'm just going to just be like, okay. And yeah, I did that. Me and the Lord did that. Okay. But yeah, that was crazy how she wanted to take some of the credit.
I would have been like, here's my business card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, it's a hoot.
Well, so talking about insurance, have you had many struggles with that? And what does that look like for you?
Yes, I have had struggles with that. And it started, I would say, really when I was laid off from my full-time job, right? When the pandemic hit, I was working full-time at a nonprofit and had great insurance. You know, my Orencia injections without insurance, they're about $4,600 a month. So, you know, with that good insurance I had with my full-time job, I only had to pay a copay of like maybe $50. But then when I was laid off, I was like, oh, snap. Okay. So I had to figure something else out. But luckily, they had this foundation assistance program that I qualified for. And so I was able to get my medication free for a year. But I still needed medication because I still had doctor's visits. And, you know, like you got to have insurance because you just never know. And so, of course, for those who know, you know, the marketplace insurance sucks. Like it covers nothing, especially for, you know, the autoimmune. And then you can't just go to a regular Blue Cross Blue Shield or United Healthcare and get insurance like that if you have a pre-existing condition. And so it's been a struggle. And so I did manage to get some decent insurance. It's still not great, but I have to, my premium is so expensive, and yet I still have to pay out of pocket stuff, you know, when I go to my doctor's visit. And the insurance I have now, the last thing I had to deal with, they only put $50 towards my Orencia. $50. Yeah, that covers nothing. And so Orencia had a copay card that covered like maybe my first 5 months, and then that ran out. So I had to figure out, okay, what's next? So I was able to again qualify for the assistance through the foundation. And so literally I just got my first shipment in, probably about 5 months last week. So my doctor has been nice enough to give me samples all this time to last me. But it shouldn't be so hard for us to get medication that we literally need to have a decent quality of life. Like it's crazy.
It is crazy. Now, has your doctor, when you go in, do they share with you about copay cards? Because mine has. I'm always
okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they do. They do. And actually my doctor's nurse really worked with me to try to get, this extra assistance. And I had to appeal that because they denied me the first time because they said your insurance covers it. But I had to show them the insurance only pays $50, which leaves me with a copay of $4,500. Who has that?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And so they had no other choice but to approve it, whether I'm working, whether I'm making million, like that's a lot of money for shots, So
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you do your Orencia once a month?
Once a week.
Once a week. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's been a long time. I was on Orencia infusions back like 10 years ago. So I don't remember much about Orencia.
Yeah. And I started off on the infusions, but then my insurance, even though I was working full time and had good insurance, they were kind of tripping like, hey, this is kind of high. Can y'all figure something else out? So that's when I went to the injections, and the injections, luckily, thankfully, have been working for the last, 5 years or so.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How do you do injecting yourself?
Well, now, like, it's easy. It's easy now. It didn't start off that way. My first injection, I think that I tried was Humira. And, they actually give you like this practice shot. And so I used that, practiced it. Even in the doctor's office, the nurse, showed me how to do it. So like once I got past that first month, I was like, oh, this is easy. The hardest part is remembering which leg I have to put it in because you have to alternate. I got to remember to write that stuff down. But anyway,
yeah. Well, do you have like the auto inject?
Well, the samples that I get are auto inject, but the actual what I get from the pharmacy is the syringe.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually like the click jack a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, what are the top 5 things in your Spoonie toolkit?
The top 5 things in my Spoonie toolkit. Okay, so I have to start off with the 3 F's, okay? I know they're not typically things, but, the 3 F's are in my mission. So the mission of RA Warrior Fitness is to empower women living with rheumatoid arthritis and other inflammatory conditions to improve their quality of life through faith, food, and fitness, while eliminating negative self-talk and strenuous exercise. So faith is definitely number 1 in my toolkit, and it's the number 1 pillar because where are we without faith? Okay, so faith can go 2 ways. Faith, my faith in God, my strong foundation that I have in my relationship with Him, because I know that I can't do anything without Him. And also having faith in myself to know that I am capable to do the things that I desire, and just having the faith in myself that I can, have a great quality of life. And, same for my clients, telling them you've got to have faith and believe that you are worthy, because you are, to make these changes, regardless of how you're feeling. There is something that you can do every day to strengthen your faith. And so things that I use to strengthen my faith, of course, is, my daily devotionals and also positive affirmations, which is probably one thing in my toolkit too. So maybe I'll save that for later. Okay. So faith, food, All right. So anti-inflammatory foods are something that's super important. And during my bodybuilding journey, I learned so much about my body and how it responds to food, which was mostly an anti-inflammatory diet. But when I got into my off season, I started introducing some things that weren't so anti-inflammatory. And I was like, oh, okay, now I see why I need to stay away from this, because now I'm having more aches and pains. And, I know it's because of what I'm putting in my body. So, what I've learned over the last few years in my relationship with food, definitely the anti-inflammatory lifestyle is where it's at. Fitness is number 3. So fitness, pretty much starting where you are. Know that you don't have to start off running a freaking marathon or anything. Starting your fitness journey can be simply creating a morning routine of stretching before you get out of bed, stretching at night before you go to bed, taking a 10-minute walk throughout the day, taking 3 different 10-minute walks throughout the day, just some type of activity matters, because I didn't wake up like this. I tell people all the time, I didn't wake up and decide, hey, I'm going to be a bodybuilder today. No, I started somewhere. There was a day when I couldn't do a burpee, couldn't do a push-up, still can't really do a traditional push-up because of the RA in my wrist, but I make a mean modification. So exercise, fitness is so important. The 4th thing, affirmations, if I can say that again. I absolutely love pouring into myself with positive affirmations and really just making sure that I am exercising my mindset and just filling myself with positivity. And that's what I do. One of the things I do first thing in the morning before I show up on social media, before I show up in front of my clients, before I show up in front of anybody, I got to pour into myself first, which is usually with, a devotional, scripture, and positive affirmations. The 5th thing in my toolbox is rest. Ooh-wee. Knowing when to rest, because if you don't do it yourself and your body makes you sit down, that's a different story, so you definitely want to be cognitive of, making sure that you're making time to get plenty of rest. Because if you don't make the decision and your body does it for you, it takes much longer to recover. So, yeah.
I could not agree with you more. And that is an amazing list. I think I need to adopt a few things out of it.
Yes, please do.
So you were talking about food.
Uh-huh.
What are some of the foods that you notice make you feel more inflamed?
Sugar. And I know alcohol is not a food, but the liquid, you can ingest it, alcohol. Because during my bodybuilding journey, I didn't eat any added sugar. I cut all alcohol, like it was just straight protein, complex carbs, and veggies. So of course, as soon as I got off stage, I'm like eating all the cookies, the crumble cookies. I'm drinking the margaritas. The first thing I wanted to drink was a margarita. Okay. And so I overindulged a little bit after this last competition, not even a little bit. I indulged a lot, and to the point where I felt like it wasn't normal. But I reached out to my coach and she was like, it's normal, but you got to reel it in. You can't stay off the wagon that long, and plus I could start to tell a difference in my joints and my pain levels, because I was literally walking to Kroger, not driving. I was walking to Kroger to get slices of cake, just because I could, because for months I couldn't have it. And I restocked my little liquor cabinet. But I've realized that I can't have stuff like that here. I'm like, if I'm going to have a drink, it needs to be socially, at a happy hour, once every 2 weeks or something like that. I don't need to buy cookies, cakes, things like that, because I'm going to eat it because I can. But I shouldn't. And so, yes, definitely sugar and alcohol. Dairy, I've reintroduced it a little bit, but I haven't gone off the deep end like I have with the sugar. So, yeah. And I've never really been into a whole bunch of fried stuff anyway. But, I feel like that probably would have caused, some inflammation. But for me, it was definitely the sugar and probably the alcohol too.
Calling all Spoonies. As a host of a chronic illness podcast, nothing lights up my day more than hearing from you, our incredible listeners. Whether it's a topic close to your heart that you want us to uncover, or you are keen to show your own journey as a guest on our show, your voice matters. Living with chronic illness can often feel isolating, but through the power of podcasting, we can come together as a community to uplift, educate, and inspire one another. Your stories, insights, and questions drive the conversations we have and the topics we explore. So if there's something on your mind, a story that you are just itching to share, or a guest you'd love to hear from, don't hesitate to reach out. Your voice is not only welcomed here, but celebrated. Let's continue to amplify the voices of those living with chronic illnesses and create a space where everyone feels heard, supported, and empowered. Together, we are stronger. Okay, so I have a feeling I know what the answer is to this.
Okay.
Name your most triumphant warrior moment.
Oh my gosh. I would say the competition. Okay, so I trained for 7 months before I got on stage the first time. So 7 months of waking up at 4 a.m. every morning to go to the gym, drinking a gallon of water every day, meal prepping every week, sometimes twice a week. And the time that goes into that, it's a lot. It pays off on the back end. It's convenient. You can just heat up and go. But I would spend like on a Saturday or Sunday, I would spend about 4 hours meal prepping for the whole week. Practicing my posing, because that's the thing. You've got to have confidence on stage. So that was like a whole nother workout. And my coach was like, you need to practice your posing every day. I'm like, how am I going to do all of this every day? So yeah, that on top of running a business, coaching my own clients. And I also work part-time at a nonprofit. So doing all that and prioritizing rest was very hard, but I had to make schedules in my day because I live and breathe by a calendar. Like I have to have things on the calendar. I would literally have to carve in a nap just to make sure I was getting rest. Literally had to make sure that my phone went on do not disturb at 8:30 so I could be asleep by 9 or 9:30. So I would say that was definitely my most triumphant warrior moment, was just getting through all of that training, all of that prep, accomplishing the goal, and it being a victory. Not only did I do the competition, but I still look back and be like, wow, I actually won. And I will say that a lot of people ask me, and this may be on your question list, like, why did you decide to do that? And it wasn't just for me or to prove other people wrong, but I did it for warriors. I did it for the Spoonie community to show that hard things can be done. We can do hard things. Nothing is impossible. You just got to believe in yourself that you can do it and surround yourself with positive people who are going to push you along on days when you're just like, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. So having that community matters and that support.
And I can't thank you enough for doing that for everybody. And for those of you that haven't watched, it's so much fun to go on and watch all the meal prepping and the posing. Like, I don't know, it's like we're living through you or something, but it's amazing to see. You're extremely inspiring.
Thank you.
I have to ask, like, what interested you in becoming a coach?
Well, when I was first diagnosed and when I first started my journey of trying to figure out weight loss and all of that, there was no one that really understood. So I thought back, like, what could have helped me to get to my goal quicker? Who could have helped me? And so I pretty much just became who I needed back when I needed somebody. I just became her. And I'm like, I know it's a lot of other warriors out there who have big goals, and they don't even have to be super big, but just have goals in general to improve their overall quality of life. Even if that means walking a mile with no pain, like each person's goal looks completely different, but it's important and it matters. And so I was like, I know that I can be that support for those warriors and be who I needed when I didn't have the support that I think I should have had, from people close to me. And so yeah, I just wanted to be someone who understood, the pain, the symptoms that come along with RA, and just, the things that we deal with as Spoonie warriors. Like, it really helps to have a coach that understands. Just like when I was setting out on my bodybuilding journey, I was like, I want someone who's been through this, who knows exactly what I'm about to go through and can coach me along. And so that's why I became a coach, because I'm like, there's other women out there like me too. So I want to help them.
Now, how long have you been a coach for?
Since the pandemic, since I started my business. So March 2020. Yep.
Wow.
So going on 3 years.
And how many clients do you currently have?
So currently I have active about 13 clients.
Wow.
Yeah, 13. So I cap myself at 15. Like that's that's plenty, But yeah. So I have 13 clients, and we all have such a great relationship, because everyone pretty much knows one another too, because I have an app, the RA Warrior Fitness app. And so we have one big group chat where, we share our wins, our victories, and also when each person completes a workout or a milestone, it sends a notification to everyone, and we just cheer each other on. And like tonight, we have our bi-weekly group coaching call. So every other Monday night, we meet as a group, celebrate our wins, and then I take an opportunity to coach on, one of the 3 pillars, faith, food, fitness, So yeah, I love the community that I've created, and I know that it's going to continue to grow, so I'm excited for what's to come.
That's wonderful. So if there's somebody here listening and they're interested in doing this with you, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, just slide in my DM. Just slide in my DM the word rise, or you can check out the link in my bio on Instagram, where you can book a free discovery call. Not only will you get a free discovery call, but you'll also get a free health assessment. So you'll complete the health assessment, we'll review it on the call, and then talk about how we can work together moving forward. And so on Instagram, you can find me as ASHNIC, so Ashnick_RA Warrior Fitness. My website is rawarriorfitness.com. And so, yeah, several ways to get in touch with me, but you can always slide in my DM. And I love having conversations and connecting with warriors, my Spoonie sisters. So, yeah.
Is there anything that we haven't discussed or covered that you'd like to cover?
Not that I can think of. I feel like I've just been talking.
I mean, that's what I brought you here for. They're not here for me.
Yeah. I think we covered anything, but if I can say some last words, is that, you may have a autoimmune condition, but it does not have you. I always say I have RA, but RA does not have me. And that is so true. It does not define you. It is a part of who you are. And, you have to acknowledge that it is a part of you, but it does not define you or your abilities, your capabilities, your dream. You can still absolutely accomplish anything that you set out to do, but you just got to believe it. And part of my mission is to help you eliminate, the negative self-talk. How you talk to yourself matters. It truly does. So it's so important to, speak life and favor over yourself. with positive affirmations and know that, despite of how you're feeling or what you think may be, you got to continue to just believe in yourself and know that you are not alone. There's a community out there that is ready to welcome you and do this journey with you. So don't think that you're alone. You're never alone.
Wise words from Ashley. Okay, I have one last thing before I let you go.
Okay.
If you could nominate and give a Spoonie shout out to one fellow Spoonie sisters, who would it be?
It would be Katina Morrison. I love Katina. So Katina and I connected last June when she first got on Instagram. And so once we connected, it's like we had known each other forever. And she is just such a wonderful advocate. And she's everyone should know her. I feel like everyone knows her in the IG Spoonie community. And, she's just an amazing person. And I just love her story and how she shares it and how she's just so giving. And she has built a wonderful community as well. She has a podcast called Inflamed Sisters Thriving. Don't you just love that name? Inflamed Sisters Thriving. And so we've got a summit and retreat coming up this weekend in Gala. So I'm excited to attend that and to meet some other Spoonie sisters that I've only seen on Instagram. And so I would definitely want to shout her out because she's doing amazing things in the Spoonie community. And yeah. So more to come from both of us, from all of us.
Absolutely. And I, unfortunately, am missing this weekend.
I know. I wish you could be there. That would be such a treat to meet you, but it's coming.
It is coming. I was supposed to be a speaker. I had agreed to speak. And then it turned out we had family coming to visit. And oh my gosh, Katina, I am so sorry. But next time.
Next time. Yes. Well, she's already given a date for next year. So
yay.
Yeah. So go ahead and get it on your calendar. I believe September 30th, 2023.
There we go.
Yes.
Ashley, thank you so much. We absolutely appreciate hearing from you. And until next time, don't forget your spoon. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only. Consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. The information should not be taken as a replacement for medical, clinical, professional advice, diagnoses, or medical intervention. My Spoonie sisters and guests will not be held liable for any of the consequences of such action or inaction. Trigger warning. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics including, but not limited to, suicide, abuse, mental illness, and chronic disease. You are advised to refrain from listening if you are likely to be offended or adversely impacted by any of these topics. None of the guests or hosts will be responsible for your use of the information contained therein. Life is not merely to be alive, but to be well. Living a life with a chronic illness is best described with one word: unpredictable. Be Well's products are designed to make the unpredictable easier to deal with. Back when I was getting my infusions, I would have loved to have their adult zip hoodie. They even have one in pink. They also have everything from one-day pill holders to urgency buckets. So remember, they want to make your life a little easier. So be sure to check out Be Well.